Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation with Lime 3DS, and Lime 3DS has just got a brand new update here to version 2118.1. And this version adds initial support for Pretendo. Now with Citra dead and gone, I get asked a lot as to my opinion on what the current best Citra continuation is out there. And I've got three different answers for you. One of them here is Lime 3DS, which tries to continue on with the project. Another one is Lemoroid, which has an experimental 3DS core based on Citra. And then there is arguably the most popular one here, and that's Pablo MK7's version of Citra, which gets updated quite frequently. And speaking about versions, next up we're talking about MAME, which stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator, depending on how you want to interpret that. Anyways, MAME version 0.270 just dropped. Now, pretty much every single month, MAME gets a brand new release with a whole bunch of bug fixes, new features, improvements, and sometimes even more. And this month is no different. The developers are usually pretty hard at work here. And this month, they've introduced the addition of a Zoomer PDA, which is built by Casio, and it runs MS-DOS 3.3. And they've also got the Hitachi Basic Master Junior working. Now, from my understanding, the Junior was released back in 1981 as a low-performance, low-priced personal computer offering basic semi-graphic character-based graphics. So if you are into MAME and wanted to learn more about this update, like everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. My news is open source and I don't hide my sources. Next up, we're talking about something I am very excited about, and that's the brand new Fatal Fury City of the Wolves game that's releasing in 2025. Now, the other day we talked about Terry Bogard releasing in Street Fighter 6, and it turns out that Ken and Chun-Li are headed to Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. I am really looking forward to this. Unfortunately, I don't have gameplay just yet, but at the same time here, this is pretty exciting news, unless I'm just out in left field. If you're interested in this, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about the PS5 Pro 30th Anniversary Limited Edition. Now, we talked about this one in previous videos, and no surprise, it sold out almost immediately when it went on sale for pre-order. And no surprise, it's already surfacing on eBay for a whopping $10,000, and this is just one listing. Now, in my opinion, this console is nowhere near worth $10,000. And I don't think it's ever going to be worth anywhere near $10,000 unless inflation continues to rise, in which case it's not really increasing in value, just in price. Let me know your thoughts about this one. Honestly here, this is just to be expected, and I'm hoping who's ever buying these just to resell them is not making a whole lot of money here, because it's not really fair for people who actually wanted to get their hands on them. And furthermore, in full transparency, although the console does look cool, I had no interest in picking it up. I didn't mind the controller, but looking at the prices of these things now, and well, I've got no interest in picking that up either, at least not at that price point. I don't know, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I feel jaded by a lot of these limited edition things. I mean, they don't really promise a whole lot more other than looking cool. And speaking about looking cool, next up we're talking about GOG, which is currently having its autumn sale for another 11 days, give or take, and the time may vary depending on where you're at, or where your VPN says you're at. Anyways, here taking a look, there are some very good deals, some very good sales. And we have previously talked about the remastered versions of Soul Reaver, and maybe if you wanted to get into this series here, you can take a look at Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which is sitting right now at a whopping $3.19. And speaking about collectibles, next up we're talking about something I had my eye on until I saw the price of shipping. And that is a brand new Android glow-in-the-dark The Bot figure, which Google is now selling. They're selling this one for about $21 US overall, but if you don't live in the States, shipping may cost you a pretty penny. Next up, we're talking about The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and review embargoes are over, and reviews are pouring in both from critics and also fans of the series. And no surprise here, this game is being reviewed incredibly favorably. Over on OpenCritic, it's got an 86 top critic average with a 92% critic recommend. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not at all surprised about these ratings, given the fact that a lot of people seem to be excited about these games, and well, it's Zelda, and Zelda games are usually reviewed very well. If you've played this game, let me know your thoughts about it, and do you think it's worth this rating? I have not checked this out yet, but some people have. Some people have played it on Ryujinx with a whopping 120 FPS. Moving on, and we're switching from something that's just released to something that's just been delayed, and we're talking about Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed. And Ubisoft announced that Assassin's Creed Shadows will now release on February 14th of next year. So this is right from the official Assassin's Creed Twitter account, or X account. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists. But we realize we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. As such, we've made the decision to postpone the release date to February 14th, 2025. The game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam at launch. So it seems that GOG is no longer the exclusive, or GOG Epic is no longer the exclusive platform for these games. Now, I might be misremembering things here, and if I am, let me know, but if I'm not mistaken, Ubisoft used to release their games over on the Epic Games Store first, and then the games may or may not make their way over to Steam at some point in time. And seeing them release this game on Steam at the same time as everywhere else kind of screams the fact that maybe this agreement with Epic is over. Or maybe they just want to release this everywhere to get a lot of money. Maybe they need money. I mean, a lot of companies like money. And additionally here, and this is complete pure speculation, but I'm wondering if this delay is a result of any of the layoffs that Ubisoft had over the last couple of years. I mean, maybe they laid off people who were key to making this game. Maybe they laid off teams that required input on this game, and without them, they're struggling to meet timelines. And if that is the case, this is a lot of speculation, but if that is the case, maybe they're realizing that laying off the people doing the work may have been the wrong choice, and maybe looking at the executives who are making decisions but not doing the actual work might have been the right choice to go to first. Who knows? And continuing to talk about Ubisoft and money, next up here we're talking about Ubisoft again, and they've admitted that Star Wars Outlaws underperformed. It didn't sell near as what they wanted to. So here's their official quote over on IGN. Despite solid ratings and user scores across first-party and Epic stores that reflect an immersive and authentic Star Wars universe, Star Wars Outlaws' initial sales proved softer than expected. I wouldn't really say Metacritic's 76 and 3.9 out of 5 are solid ratings. I would say those are very low given the fact that this is supposed to be a AAA game. I mean, if I head on over to Metacritic and just filter on PS5 only because there's only 708 games on the PS5, Star Wars Outlaws with its very good score of 76 is sitting at 340th out of 708. That to me is not good at all. And furthermore, if we wanted to, be more fair here and just look across the board at any game that released this year. Currently on Metacritic, they've got 333 releases this year, and Star Wars Outlaws is sitting at 185th with their 76 score. To me, out of 333, 185th is not necessarily great. To me, that's mediocre. I'm not going to lie here. I am very curious to see if Star Wars Outlaws wins a game award this year. I think that would be very telling on who wins awards and who doesn't. I mean, based on the reviews, I don't think this should be anywhere near an award. But again, I could be wrong, and those are just my opinions based on the reviews that are out there. But moving on from all of that, next up we're talking about Meta. And the other day, Meta unveiled the MetaQuest 3S, which is a lower cost VR headset. It's priced at $299 USD or $399 here in Canada. Now, it's reported that the MetaQuest 3S will have the exact same Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 chip as the MetaQuest 3. The big difference between the 3S and the 3 is the headset here. The 3S headset, from my understanding, is going to have a worse display resolution, a narrower field of view, and also lower quality lenses. Next up, we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with RPCSX. Now, we haven't talked about RPCSX in a hot minute because in the PlayStation 4 emulation world, Shad PS4 has been absolutely dominating. But that may be changing moving forward. If you take a look at RPCSX GitHub, there seems to have been some very big commits. So diving into their GitHub here, and we can see that they're in the process of rewriting the GPU, and they've had 35,494 additions. That is a lot of code. So nothing has been released just yet. We don't know if this is actually going to improve things. but I would venture a guess and say, yes, this is going to improve things for RPCSX. Now, there is something I want to point out here, and in my opinion, this is very big and possibly a quick refresher for those who may have forgotten or maybe people don't know about. But if we take a look at the person behind this commit for the GPU rewrite, the name on this is DHRPCS3. And if that name is familiar, it's because DHRPCS3 is one of the founders of RPCS3. They laid a lot of the groundwork for RPCS3, and it looks like they're laying a lot of the groundwork now for RPCSX. They've got a proven track record of success, and while I'm not rushing them and I am being patient here, I've got high hopes for RPCSX. Next up, we're talking about Intel, and after a lot of investigation, Intel may have found the root cause for the problems in their 13th and 14th generation processors, and that may have been motherboards. So Intel listed 4 possible reasons. Now, I don't know if they're listed in order of the problems or popularity or what here, but reason number 1, at least the reason that appears to be the biggest issue, is motherboard power delivery settings exceeding Intel power guidance. Now, from my understanding, for Intel 13th and 14th generation CPUs, there's going to be a new BIOS update if it's not already there, and also a microcode update. And they're saying here the BIOS update and the microcode update won't fix an issue if it's already there. And if there is an issue with the 13th or 14th generation CPU, it's going to have to be replaced. Now, unfortunately, I don't have an Intel 13th or 14th generation CPU in order to test this, but I'm wondering if after the BIOS update and after the microcode update, if the performance of these chips is going to be the same as it was before, or if it's going to be the same as advertised. I'm very curious here to see if these updates end up detuning these chips in order to protect them. I don't know. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.